videos, I became the devil. I turned red because the lights went off, and I grew horns and everything, demons, and I'm sure I scared Tucker Carlson. But let's look what we have today. Best and brightest. I'm glad you're here. Let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have here.
But most guys don't
Mike
do anything about it
Johnson.
because
Mike Johnson.
A few years ago, we learned conclusively that, in fact, the FBI and the federal intel agencies, the dozen or more federal intel agencies we have for some reason, had been working secretly against Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Trump had whispered about this, then shouted about it, was roundly denounced as a conspiracy nut, a lunatic. But in the end, he was vindicated. It was true. These agencies spied on Trump, and they leaked some of what they'd learned to the media, which used it against Trump. Then these agencies concocted false stories about Trump. They tried to crush Trump completely in 2016, and then for the entire course of his presidency. Then they did the same thing in 2020 during the presidential election, and they're doing it still. They're trying to put him in prison for the rest of his life.
Agencies hate him because they're afraid.
So if you take three steps back, what you have here
old stupid pigs there, CIA.
What we're seeing now. For the third time in 3 consecutive cycles, secretive federal agencies are trying to rig our presidential election. This is what the Democrats refer to as democracy, and they're trying to defend it. But of course, it's the opposite of democracy. It's in fact the end of democracy in any semblance of a constitutional republic we ever had. If you have a secret police force threatening people,
CIA,
spying on them,
FBI,
and working secretly the levers of political power, then you don't have a democracy. You have no control over really anything as a voter.
We haven't had a democracy since Kennedy was assassinated in '62. Everyone knows the CIA with the FBI did it. The Dulles brothers were the most powerful people in government. CIA director, Allen Dulles, and his brother at the State Department did the assassination of Kennedy because they wanted their war with Cuba and then Russia. They wanted a Russia war. Kennedy was not having it. So ever since then, we've kind of had a half democracy, half not. We need to win it back, win democracy back. This deep state, the traitors need to be exposed and tried for treason inside the CIA, FBI, State Department, etc.
So if there's one thing the Republican Party, the opposition party, should be doing in response to this, right now, it's fighting back against this descent into totalitarianism. They should be working to return freedom and democracy to the country. They should defend the Constitution. They should rein in these agencies, Washington's secret police. But you will not be surprised to learn they've been busy doing just the opposite. So if you're wondering why no one has gone to prison for any of this, now that we know it actually happened, well, the reason is in part a law called FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. It's been around a long time. Teddy Kennedy first proposed it, by the way, back in the mid-1970s. And that law allows the federal government to spy without a warrant on foreigners outside the borders of the country. And the idea is bad people are doing bad things against us. We need to know what they are, and we can't bother to go to a court to get a warrant every time we want to know. But it will never be used against American citizens. Well, of course, now that we know it has been at scale. But that law, FISA, has made it possible. So that law is now up for reauthorization in the House of Representatives. And amazingly, the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson of Louisiana, has spent the last couple of weeks doing all he can to get that law reauthorized. In other words, to allow the federal agencies to continue to spy upon and punish people who disagree with them.
Mike Johnson is the leader of the House. The majority are Republicans. He's the Speaker of the House, leader of the Republicans and the Speaker of the House. And he was just appointed a few months ago. He needs to be ousted. He's a traitor. He's an absolute traitor to the Republicans. And he's helping the Democrats get every dream they want. And so far, he's got the Republicans nothing. Nothing. Boo. Boo. No, come on. We can do better than that. What's double? Is that rain? What is that? Yes. Mike Johnson, get out of there. Oust him.
other words, Mike Johnson's own party, Republicans, Trump voters. Mike Johnson has been working to do that. And that effort failed today because members of Congress heard from their constituents or came to their senses, saw the truth in a dream. Whatever happened, they stopped Mike Johnson from doing that for the moment. So that's a good thing, and you ought to be celebrating it, even if you didn't know it was happening. And a lot of people didn't because it got very little media coverage. But of course, this is a temporary victory, like all bad things, like that chlamydia you got in a hot tub in Cabo in college. It will come back. This attempt to spy on you, an American citizen, without a warrant because you've been politically disobedient. Why will it come back? Because it's what they really care about. And so before it does come back, it's worth just a very quick autopsy on what just happened. What did we just see so we can learn a couple of important lessons? And the first lesson we're going to learn is that a lot of powerful people in the Congress are liars. They lie without shame, in fact, with pride, and they do so at the behest of, or because of blackmail instituted by, the intel agencies. And at the head of that list would be the chairman of the House Intel Committee, Mike Turner of Ohio. We're going to play you a clip from Mike
He's
Turner
a fucking
of Ohio, saying
creep.
exactly the opposite of what is true. Here is Mike Turner reassuring you that FISA would never, under the FISA law, the U.S. government would never be allowed to spy on you without a warrant because that's unconstitutional. It's never happened. It never will happen. And if you think otherwise, you're probably one of those UFO-believing nut jobs who ought to stop doing ayahuasca. Here's House Intel Committee, pawn of the intel agencies, Mike Turner of Ohio.
We're not surveilling foreigners in the United States. We're not surveilling Americans in the United States. Those individuals who say that this is a warrantless search of Americans' data are just not telling the truth. These are foreigners abroad. They're a select group of individuals who are a national security threat. If you're an American and you're corresponding with ISIS, yes, if we're spying on ISIS, your communications are going to be captured. You would want us to do that. All Americans would want us to try to make certain that we keep ourselves safe from these outside terrorist groups and organizations. We are not spying on Americans. This is not a warrantless.
Yes, you are. 240,000 Americans were spied on last year.
Program. This is foreigners who are abroad only.
Every word of that, a lie. And we don't need to guess. And I hate to use that pronoun, but I specifically don't need to guess because that actually happened to me. The NSA broke into my text messages, read them, passed them to news organizations in order to discredit me, and then admitted that they did that, admitted that they spied on me. And they did it under FISA because I was daring to text with a foreigner outside our borders. So Mike Turner knows that. He's the chairman of the Intel Committee. He knows he's lying, but he's doing it anyway because it's that important to preserve that core power. If you have the power to spy on someone and then to leak the information that you gather or manipulate it and then leak it in order to control that person, that's a major power. In fact, that's a bigger power than any voter in this country had.
Almost all of them in the CIA, FBI leadership are Democrats. The Democrats are spying. Why do they need this power? Mostly to win elections. Because they make more money. When Democrats win elections, they make more money from their friends. It's all corruption. It's all influence money, which is slow motion bribery.
And so he's acting on their behalf when he lies to you. And so it shouldn't surprise you that they want to keep that power. And they want to keep it so badly that over the last week, U.S. government officials did something that may not have precedent in Washington. They lobbied members of Congress directly. They, in the words they used in Washington, they whipped the bill. Officials from the Department of Justice called, among others, Chip Roy of Texas to demand that he vote for FISA reauthorization. Imagine that. DOJ, Department of Justice, the federal law enforcement agency, called Chip Roy and said, you got to do this. Think about that. Is there any group in this country more powerful than the Department of Justice? They can put you in jail, and they've shown a willingness to do that. They could put kiddie porn on your computer. They've probably done that too. And everybody who serves in Congress knows that. And everybody's afraid of them, along with the CIA and NSA and a bunch of other three-letter agencies. Members of Congress are afraid of them because they know the consequences of disobedience.
Yes, we're all afraid of the CIA, FBI, Justice Department, and the Democrats there because they're about money, yes. number one. But number two, they get their money by Democrats winning elections. Okay. So what he just said is absolutely true. All the members of Congress are afraid of the CIA, FBI, State Justice Department. Why? Why? Because they killed Kennedy in 61. Or 63. A few years later, they killed Martin Luther King. A few years later, they killed Kennedy's brother, RFK. And RFK Jr. is now running for office. So within a few years, a few corrupt people in intelligence and justice, FBI, killed MLK, RFK, and JFK, murdered them, and nothing was ever done to bring them to justice. Okay? It's not necessarily a Democrat-Republican thing. It's just right now they tend to be Democrats, but maybe back then they were Republicans. But that was 70 years ago.
And so for them to call directly a member of Congress, they'd be like the FBI coming to your house on election day and demanding that you vote for their designated candidate. And then having access to the record of who you actually voted for, as they do in the Congress. Can you imagine? You'd be highly motivated to vote for their candidate, wouldn't you? Yes, you would. So they're willing to do anything to get this enshrined in law because it gives them legal cover to subvert democracy, which is their program, of course. And everybody knows it. Mike Johnson knows it, but he's not telling his conference that, his fellow Republicans. In a meeting today with his Republican conference on Capitol Hill, Mike Johnson said, you must vote for this, and you must vote for it because America hangs in the balance. And if you had the intelligence that I've seen in my classified briefings, which you cannot see, you would know that it's your moral responsibility to vote for this. And by the way, if you don't vote for it, Americans will die. Johnson didn't mention that the FISA law, warrantless spying, did not prevent 9/11 or the Cole bombing or any major act of terror in the last 50 years, almost 50 years that we've had it. No, I mean, it's ridiculous on its face, but why is Mike Johnson saying this? Well, there are only two possible explanations. One is that he's just stupid and doesn't know and believes his intel briefers. Every person who has spent any time in D.C. knows the intel briefing, the classified intel briefing in the SCIF is merely a leash. It's a collar around your neck connected to a chain, and the other hand is your handler from some federal agency with a black budget whose total you can't know. Of course, it's a way to control you, giving you information that you can't repeat to anyone else, that you have no way of verifying, and telling you that if you don't go along with the program, Americans will die. Right. So he either doesn't know that that's the way things actually work in D.C. Oh, of course Saddam has weapons of mass destruction. You want to get America vaporized in a nuclear attack? Invade, et cetera, et cetera. Many precedents for this. I mean, it's the oldest story there is. Either he doesn't know that, or there's another agenda. We can't know for certain. But consider this. Mike Johnson has been Speaker of the House for not very long, just several months now. He got the job accidentally. And in the time that he's had it, what have his priorities been? Well, there have been two big ones, two issues on which he's willing to call his fellow Republicans into the room and say, you have to do this. The first one is Ukraine funding. And he's done that again and again. Either we send another $60 billion to Ukraine, or he implies American soldiers will have to fight in Ukraine because we're going to prevent Putin from rolling into San Antonio or whatever. Of course, all untrue, in fact, ridiculous, but that's what he said, in effect. Ukraine funding has been his top priority, and his second, this week, was more warrantless spying on Americans. Well, what's interesting is that those are also Joe Biden's top priorities. Those are not the top priorities of Republican voters. They're not the top priorities of American voters. Look at the public opinion polling. It's available on Google. No, those are Joe Biden's priorities because both expand his power. So what's interesting is that the Republican Speaker of the House shares those priorities, not closing the border. He didn't call his conference in to say, shut down the border tomorrow because 70% of Americans are demanding that, and 100% of our own voters are demanding that, and that will save this country from certain destruction. He didn't say that. He said the number one thing we need to do is continue to have the legal right to spy unconstitutionally on American citizens without bothering to get a warrant. And again, is it an accident that's Joe Biden's top priority too after Ukraine, which he's still pushing? We'll let you decide. But the bottom line is, over time, people who don't live in Washington, don't know the complexities of the process, who aren't impressed by Johnson's claim, oh, I've only got a one-seat majority. I have to do this. People are looking at this cold, with just the big facts available, will start to notice that the priorities of one party mirror the priorities of the other party. And they may ask themselves two questions. First, who's got my priorities top of mind? And second, why even bother with the Republican Party if all they're going to do is ratify what Joe Biden wants? And they may ask that question really soon. Let's hope they do.
Exactly right, Tucker. Thank God for Tucker. Thank God for Tucker. Okay, let's find out if I can upload this today. Let's go. What kind of speed do we have? Speed. Higher. 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 Pop. Pop. Okay, uploads. Yes, I need upload speeds. Yes. Yes. Higher. No, no. No. Higher. Higher. Yes. Well, what happened? You started at 25. Well, that's pretty good, though. Let's see what the average is. 11. Well, that's good enough. Yay! All right, let's see if we have any other videos. Yes. Yes, porn and OnlyFans are bad, yes. Represent Sheila Jackson Lee struggles to explain the moon and the sun. What are the moon and the sun? Look at her. From Los Angeles, the representative U.S. Congresswoman from Los Angeles, the Democrat. She looks like an absolute dummy. Absolute dummy. Where are all the NFL and NBA athletes that are smart? Most of the stars are actually very smart, and they're on the right side. Vatican rejects gender-affirming surgery, maternal surrogacy. What does that mean, rejects it? It's not a good idea. Let the people, people should be able to do what they want, as long as they don't force it on me. Don't force me to say anything like your effing pronouns. But, it's a free country. Do what you want. Just don't make me look at it. What? Nancy Pelosi turns against Israel? Oh. She is one Jew hater. She's an anti-Semite, bigot, racist. Nancy Pelosi hates Jews. And she's siding with terrorists. She's siding with the terrorist organization called Hamas, who is the most corrupt organization right now on earth. She's siding with them against a democracy of mostly Jewish people, but the Israel democracy consists of Arabs as well and Muslims. Yes, it does. They're not racist like you, Pelosi. RFK Jr. says he's running for president. He's kind of a spoiler. Who's he going to spoil? Is he going to spoil Trump or is he going to spoil Biden? We will find out in a few months. RFK says neither Trump nor Biden will kill democracy. It's already been killed. It was killed in the 60s with the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK. But we need to win it back. We need to win it back. So we need everyone to pay attention and work hard at this. Ooh, great. RFK names his second shooter who killed his father. Wow. Yeah, I've told you a little bit about that. The Dulles brothers organized it, and the FBI leader went along with it. And the vice president went along with it, Johnson, because he was going to be he became the next president. Again, Kennedy was about peace, and the deep state wanted war with Cuba first and then Russia. They were afraid, scared to death that Russia would get the bomb and blow them up. Jon Stewart interrogates America's support of Israel. Oh, is there any way we can not support Israel because I am a secret Jew hater? There's the Jew hater right there. Look at that. He might have some Jewish in him. Still, there are still Jewish haters, ignorant Jewish haters, even if they're Jewish. Well, the FISA law that Tucker was just talking about is killed for now, but it'll be back like a bad case of herpes. I know nothing about that. World domination. Oh, yes. He's a meddler. He pays all the media organizations of the world. We pulled up all the numbers one day. We had the exact amount he'd given each media organization every year from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation just to help you with your nice little journalism. Sure, no strings attached, but I still make a lot of money. Even though I vowed to give away my money, I'm richer than ever. Yeah, I'm as corrupt and greedy and criminal as anyone. I'm Bill Gates. The truth about the Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. I like Jason Whitlock. Tucker Carlson. Wow, this is really taking place. New World Order 9 hours ago? Wait a second. Is this new? No. It's by a different channel. It's not by Tucker. It might be some of new footage from him. I guess I don't need to try it. Oh, gosh. No, I don't trust anyone but Tucker's channel. Don't want to waste my time. Art Lapper, yes. He was the economic advisor for Ronald Reagan. He's still around, yes. He's saying lower taxes, lower tax rates on people, the economy will boom, and the Treasury actually collects a total of more taxes because it stimulates the economy so much, lowering taxes. Okay, this guy, Daniel Dennett, don't bother. He is a joke, fake intellectual. He kept on talking about aboutness. Every other sentence, aboutness. Yes, the aboutness of this and the aboutness of this. Horrible usage. He's like, he might have had a brain injury because I think half his brain is gone now. Wasted time. Love Jordan though, but he gets way too gone on philosophy and pseudo-intellectualism. The real intellectuals speak as clear as day so everyone can understand them, not the fake intellectual. Let's see more. Oh, God, I listen to Eric so much. He's just not worth it. He's just talks nonsense, too. No nugget. There's no meat there. A little tiny bit of meat. Tiny bit of meat in Eric. Where's the beef? It's not with Eric. I like Mike Tyson. I don't want to fight him. Jake Paul's going to fight him? Actually, I take the younger man, actually. I think Jake Paul's much younger. Jake Paul should win, unless it's rigged. A man around 60 is no match for someone around 40. Even Mike Tyson. And I'll bet on that. That's an old story. That's not real. Well, it wasn't. It was decades ago. Nothing. Yes, Johnson failed at reauthorizing FISA, but they'll be back. They'll probably get their way because they've got everything they wanted so far. Everything the intelligence agencies want as far as power and money they've gotten probably since they killed Kennedy, RFK, and MLK. Elon Musk interviews RFK? Nah, I don't think that's quite right. No. Fake. Who's interviewing who? Yeah. Maybe they're talking, but anyway. Oh, Karl Rove, he is the biggest fake phony. He's a Democrat now. Now he's a Democrat because the Republican Party has grown a brain, and they're anti-war now, and they're anti-spending on the military because they know we're absolutely bankrupt, and catastrophe will come. Inflation is going to go crazy, and the dollar will become worth zero. The dollar will become worth zero, like it has in half the countries of the earth. Their money has already become zero because of spending. We are there, and it's making the Americans poor. It's making the poor poor. It's making the middle class poorer and poorer and poorer. And the millionaires keep their money. The billionaires keep their money, but the middle class is being wiped out by all this spending and inflation, and they're not slowing down at all. The COVID spending, that crazy spending during COVID, they've kept it up. They just passed a budget a month ago. They're still spending the crazy amount. Stop spending all my money. You're going to make us all homeless. Congress has spent all the money. 2/3 of us will be homeless soon. It's the most horrible thing, and most Americans don't know it. So here's to all that spending. Here's I don't know what this is. No, that's supposed to be this is a cool symbol. Okay, to stopping the spending. Stop the spending. Let's stop. We'll be so happy when we stop the spending and the inflation. Here you go. Gosh, sometimes it doesn't work. All right. Maybe my hands are just too good looking. Well, I do have this broken finger. Maybe AI doesn't understand this broken finger. Heard it playing basketball when I was in junior high school. Coach had to, it turned out being about this long, and coach had to pull it out. It sure was fun playing basketball in junior high school. He's tall, blocking a lot of shots, excellent defender. Let's look at any of these others. No, I don't see anything else good. Oh, Democrat Cenk Uygur, the biggest Democrat channel on YouTube, he finds out that Democrats rig their primaries. He's just figured, okay, this fatty here, Cenk, this fat guy is so stupid. It's taken him this long to figure it out. The Democrat Party is crooked from top to bottom at every level. There's no honesty or justice there. Oh, God. Remember Bernie when Bernie won all the primaries? And Hillary said, this is in 2016, and maybe even in 2020, Bernie won all the primaries, and he was to be the presidential candidate because that's what democracy is. When all the Democrats vote for Bernie, he should be the candidate to go against Trump. That's democracy. And did they rigged it? Yes, they cheated. Hillary cheated. She just said, nope, I'm going to be the candidate, and my friends are going to help me, and that's it. And Bernie, even though you won, even though you should be the candidate, I'm not going to let you. I'm going to be the candidate against Trump in 2016. So she stole it from Bernie. Crooked, I tell you, the Democrats right at this point. Not always. You know, a few decades ago, they were somewhat honest, a little bit honest, much more than now. Now they're absolutely crooked. The Democrats are more crooked right now than my finger. Yes, they've stolen democracy. They're trying to steal it. And they're trying to rig it from the Republicans. I hope they don't. I don't really care who wins as long as it's not rigged and dishonest, and every single thing we get from the Democrats now is rigged and dishonest. I'm actually for most of their agenda, but I don't want them to win right now because they're illegal. They're criminals, dishonest, illegal, rigged, crooked. They're anti-democracy. They're extremely dangerous to our democracy. They could bring the whole thing down with all their crooked behavior. Censoring, no free speech, imprison their opponents. That's stuff of dictators, murderous dictators. So wake up, America. We need to fix things. We already saw all these. Huh. Yes, Trump went in and ordered milkshakes. It was beautiful. Let's watch that one.
Hey guys, what if you could own vacation homes all across the world
I don't want
in
to watch
areas that
this
you
ad.
love to visit with your
3,
friends and family?
2,
Yet you
1,
could still
boom.
Donald Trump and Joe Biden are battling over who gets the nuke codes, but the two candidates are the former president out in Georgia, where he's got a hero's welcome at Chick-fil-A in Atlanta and ordered 30 milkshakes for customers who apparently are not lactose intolerant like me. He unleashed the whole arsenal on the Biden regime.
We are a nation in decline. Biden is the worst president in the history of our country. He's corrupt and he's incompetent. He can't put two sentences together. And I think we're going to have a tremendous victory. I predict that November 5th will go down as the most important day in the history of our country. He's done more damage than the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country. There has never been anybody that's damaged our country like crooked Joe Biden.
Had it or hit it. Apparently, Donald Trump is no Willie Brown, Dana.
Okay. No, there's a clip in there. Of course, Fox News won't show it because Fox News is at least half Democrat. So let's look for Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson's great. And then we'll have to say goodnight. Benny Johnson. You might want to subscribe to him. Benny Johnson, yes. Yikes. What does he tell donors? Oops, Biden did what? Oh, Biden. Come on. Biden. You're too old, Biden. That is sad. That is sad. What's that? Stain. Oh. Okay. Oh, Atlanta Chick-fil-A goes wild for Trump. Yes.
The Riz on Donald Trump, man, walks into an Atlanta Chick-fil-A, orders 30 milkshakes, and has the employees rolling.
Good-looking people, wow. That was worth it. They like each other, right? I think that's very nice. So we'll order 30 milkshakes. We'll give them out to the people, and we'll take some for ourselves, okay? They do very well. They're closed on Sunday.
The Lord's chicken.
That's the Lord's chicken. You're right. It's good chicken, too.
Then some of the patrons of the Chick-fil-A went up to hug Donald Trump. They'll never show you this on the media.
I don't care what the media tells you, Mr. Trump. We support you.
We support you, Mike.
Okay, 4 p.m. 4 p.m.
Come here, let me give you a hug.
And then Donald Trump had to nuke Hillary Clinton on his way out the door.
Hillary had more than twice the money that we had. And how did that race turn out? I'm not 100% sure.
That's what you call a tasty campaign style.
Okay, guys. See that? The Democrats have been lying, saying that Republicans are racist. The truth is, they're the racist. Everything they accuse the Republicans of, destroying democracy, they are actually doing. So it's very sick. They're a very psychotic, sick, mentally ill party right now. We cannot bring them to power. All right. So best and brightest, thank you for being here with me. And a warm good evening to you. I forgot to do the warm welcome. A warm welcome to you, laddies. Good evening. A warm good evening to you. All right. Bye. Oh, let's do a heart. Let's give you some hearts before you go. Hearts. Hearts. Yeah. Can we do a more? One more. How do I get my face out of this picture? Hearts? No. Hearts. There we go. Sending to you. Best and brightest.